Multi-exclusive dimensional being card with another exclusive. Today's video is going to be about what is ghosts. Because at the end of the day, we heard about this whole phase as far as what is ghosts. And of course, at the end of the day, we create these things. We are these things actually too. Because at the end of the day, it's something invisible. But you got good ghosts and you got bad ghosts too. And everything is frequency, which is that right there was a motherfucking ghost, which is frequency, vibration, energy. So at the end of the day, um, when we talking about ghosts, feel me, you gotta understand and understand this on a higher spectrum. This shit goes deep, and this is some real deep metaphysics shit. Because at the end of the day, people, places, and things don't really be aware of the spiritual realm, as far as where they came from, and this is where they started. Because remember, the spirit is the birth, the soul is the life, and the energy is basically come third. That's the experience, but that's also the death stage too. And of course, you need this experience to basically go through this astral experience, through this astral travel, aka these influences. Because at the end of the day, the earth, everything come, everybody came out of water. So understand and understand that shit. Everything you see came out of water. It came from out. Remember, it's the feminine side. And of course, you got the masculine side. The feminine side is basically dealing with the females. Every male got a feminine side within him. Feel me? It all relies in the body. This physical shape and form that you in was basically a masculine perspective as far as what it was basically reoccurring as far as whatever was coming together as far as dirt particles, substances coming together, basically creating stars. Because you are a star. And don't let nobody fucking tell you otherwise, because at the end of the day, you basically have everything within you already. So the moment you get lost into external shit, or basically try to replace something or sell your soul for something, that's the moment you're gonna experience turmoil. And remember, the beings that told you to basically do things or live in society, they kind of have people living backwards. So that's why people go through all kinds of shit. Feel me? Because when you living backwards, as far as just doing shit and sitting back, and you're supposed to come up with the idea. Then you're supposed to add the feeling and emotion. Then you're supposed to basically push that out and express that into the external world. Feel me? Remember, the spirit came first. The spirit ain't the brain, but the spirit created these constructs. And basically, this is basically your spirit is in this shit. Your spirit is not this shit. Because remember, you wasn't the body previously, and you ain't gonna be the body when you leave it. And especially when you go to sleep, you ain't the body. Because you're not in the body. You're in another world. You're in another realm. You're in another experience, another location. That's called transformation. And of course, a lot of people don't remember their dreams. And a lot of people will look at this like it's crazy, because they'll be like, wait, how the hell you die in your sleep? Now, take this into consideration. When you go to sleep, you KO, you're knocked out. That means you're not into this existence. Now you're starting to dream. Now you're starting to experience like you're in your woke life or some shit that is basically played a representation, because that's the only thing you know. But now look at it like this too. At the end of the day, some people, they have dreams, and when they wake back up, they forget their dream. Now look, supposedly if you die, right, and you basically experiencing things in your dream, right? Boom. Now take this into consideration. You're already dead in this world. Now you in your dream world. Now you going through circumstance situation, especially if you don't. Some people don't even know if they dream. Some people don't even remember they dream. They don't even. Sometimes they get a little piece, a little inch. Now take this into consideration. Now say if you dead already, and you don't know that shit because you're not coming back to this body. So you're in the subconscious realm. So basically you're flowing and you're going places. Sometimes you may end up into the spiritual realm, depending on how you vibrate. Because that's another realm. Basically, the spiritual realm is basically where you're in control of everything. You're basically the director. You're the narrative. You're doing all that shit. Subconscious is basically what you're seeing, and you're being in control of another aspect or another terminology. For me, it's two differences. But at the end of the day, it still play the spectrum of this realm. But also, you got to understand and understand where you're at in these realms too. And it's very important to basically know yourself subconsciously, unconsciously, and consciously. When you're too lost into the conscious, which is basically the flesh, the fleshly fluids, that's where you get lost to the point of you just lost into direction. You don't know your way of state. You don't know your state of being. Feel me? You just all over the place, and you didn't construct yourself in a way for you to basically be more spiritually mature or basically spiritually enlightened. You was too naive. You was too lost into this motherfucking reality. You gave all your inner into out of this shit. So when you do die, it's gonna take a very long time for you to understand and understand this shit. And of course, when you actually realize you're dead, you're like, oh shit, you ain't coming back to this body. Now you got to create another body, and you got to basically come back here to this realm because all you knew was shit up under the sun. Feel me? All you knew was basically this. All you knew was that. All you knew was this shit down here. You didn't basically expand yourself. You didn't go any further. You just stayed up under the sun. Feel me? And those are the people that get lost. Those are the people that just basically lost into this world. Feel me? And it ain't they for everybody gonna expand their consciousness. Everybody gonna expand in their own way of doing things. But if you don't take repercussion, if you don't take consideration now, it may take eons. And look at it like this too. You a spirit, and you're a soul, and you're a body. Remember, the spirit, soul, and body is three differences. The spirit is basically the creator. You are the creator. You're not a creation. Remember that. You create creations. Remember that shit too. And it takes teamwork, basically creates the dream work. So when you got a bunch of spirits working through you or basically working for you, or another thing, you could be used as a vessel out here by other spirits too. Because when we talking about ghosts, these are motherfuckers that got lost into the construct. Feel me? They didn't go up in life. Feel me? They still here. They still floating around. They still created vessels and bodies in circumstances, situations to the point where take this into consideration. You ever went into a room or to a new space and location, and you just pick up a certain vibe? Remember, the word pick up is in the phrase. So basically, you pick something up. You wasn't feeling like this until you got into that space and location. You could be in a good mood. All of a sudden, you touch certain doors, you touch certain doorknobs and shit. You open certain doors, almost to the point you just get into that realm of reality, and you're like, wait, something don't feel right, something don't seem right, because at the end of the day, what's going on is you picked up another substance, you picked up a bacteria, you picked up a dirt, you picked up a negative spirit, a negative feeling, emotion, a negative negligent, and then basically it came into your existence. Now it's in your space and location, because basically, remember, we are just spirits and bodies, and basically we are traveling, so we are basically flowing through different current events and different term lines and timelines and shit. So when you don't know this shit, you're not aware of things. What you're gonna do is you're gonna be like, wait, I don't feel right. I don't feel good. This place is not crazy. Now this is where people fuck up, because society created this term of analogy to say your thoughts, your feelings, emotions is yours, because these are not yours. Understand that shit. And you should know this shit by now, especially also when you take this into consideration. Try to close your eyes and meditate. It just clear your mind. But look at it like this. It's gonna be very hard for you to do this shit, especially if you're new to this shit. And that just goes to show you and tell you right there your thoughts ain't yours. And you're just swimming through other ghosts, other spirits, other ancestors, other beings, other demons, other angels that basically was here on this life before you, that lived here before you. Remember that shit. Not to say that you wasn't a spirit in a body in your previous lifetimes. You was, but you was probably not in this space and location. You could have been in another realm of reality, another aspect, another galaxy, another land, or whatever planetary alignment you from. Or you was just basically dumb as fuck and naive and shit. And you ain't build yourself a bigger brain for you to basically expand and know these things. But at the end of the day, you got to take into consideration. Ghosts are motherfucking ghosts, period. And that word is powerful too, because remember, we create these things and we flowing through these things. So at the end of the day, take this into consideration. Society told you had to work for things. Society told you you had to do these things for certain things. A lot of people get lost to the concept of, oh, I want this car, I want this and that. Some people, they get too attached to what they have in front of them and shit. And of course, when that shit is taken away from them, what happens? They go crazy. They go like a brat. They act like a brat. They go fucking crazy. They go berserk. They about to kill your ass. And when you put that shit back in front of them, they get happy again. Now, if you in a state of being of awareness of such and such, as far as you not acting accordingly or trying to make yourself be happy or feel happy without these motherfucking things, because you remember, everything you see with your two eyes, as far as objects and particles and shit or references, whatever you see with your two eyes, whatever you looking at, came from and within the spiritual realm. Then whatever was basically brought down was basically things that was added, other philosophical point of views, other beliefs, and that was basically rained down. So that's where you get the construct of where everything and all these substances and shit came from. So the moment you put yourself in a circumstance situation of vibrating low because you don't have these things, that's the moment you lost and you a ghost. Because what you're doing is you're adding negative weight, feelings, and emotions, and you're vibrating low. And the lower you vibrate, the more possible chances that you put yourself in Dalmatian. To the point where you don't like the thing is that's another thing too. Other spirits was here before you. Other spirits wanted certain things. Other spirits wanted to experience certain circumstances and situations. So being that you the light now, they look at you like, oh shit, I can use this person or I can be born through this person too. And remember, look at it like this too. Your mind is your kids too, your creations. So whatever's coming out of you is what you're going to create. Your mind creates your reality. Remember that shit. Your feelings and emotions basically put the manifestation into that concept, into that frame. And the energy and the attention and emotion and the motivation and the energy that you utilize to basically push that out is what's going to be brought down to existence. Because remember, you got the fire, which is the passion, the drive, the force, the willpower, the integrity. You got the feelings. You got the water, which is the feelings and emotions. You got the air, which is the thinking, the communication. And boom, once the fire is put out by the water, it makes the steam, which is the air. And basically, that's once the air is basically third person, that's basically surrounded as a location. Now it can basically